Good morning, friends. One sober to another. I'm Wayne. I'm an alcoholic. Today's daily reflection for 19 October 2020. Alcoholics Anonymous, Main Taproot. Let's get after it. Well, friends, here we go. Before I begin, look, today's daily reflection is primarily about Alcoholics Anonymous group. If that is not your thing, go ahead and replace that with whatever group of recovery you are in, or whatever group keeps you sustainable and positive throughout your recovery, as well as just a sense of belonging. Make sense? Let's go, people. The principle that we shall find no enduring strength until we first admit complete defeat is the main taproot from which our whole society has sprung and flowered. 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 21 and 22. Defeated and knowing it. I arrived at the doors of AA alone and afraid of the unknown. A power outside of myself had picked me up off of my bed, guided me to the phone book, then to the bus stop, and through the doors of Alcoholics Anonymous. Once inside AA, I experienced a sense of being loved and accepted, something I had not felt since early childhood. May I never lose the sense of wonder I experienced on that first evening with AA, the greatest event of my entire life. Well, first, phone book. You know, that can give you an idea of when this was written. However, scroll through your phone, your mobile phone, you'll see links for everything that you need. You'll also see links below. So what does today's daily reflection mean for me? It means a lot, actually, because for me, somehow, through all the BS that I put myself through and through all the things that were going on at the time that I actually discovered Alcoholics Anonymous. And again, if that's not your thing, replace it with the recovery support group of your choice, even if it's just one or two people. So I was going through all this stuff, and I thought my life was actually completely over. And I had a mandate to go to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting that was occurring upstairs from where I had just failed my blood test. And I was told if I didn't go that night, that all the paperwork would be filed and that I would be kicked out of this program and then kicked out of the Army. So for me, I was truly just empty at that point, and I know that I had zero ambition of going. And as a matter of fact, my alcoholic brain was saying, F that, man. Just drink a little more. You'll be okay. We'll get through this like we always do. That's how the alcohol used to talk to me. So as I ignored it, because I had zero option at that point. I mean, I guess I had an option, either drink it and face a lot more consequence than what was going on, and possibly death or hurt somebody, or go to this meeting. So, out of fear of everybody in there judging me when I walked in, I went anyway. And I did literally go up some stairs, and there was a long corridor, and it was poorly lit. It was actually in an unused part of this building. The lights were flickering, kind of like in a horror movie, And I'd been to AA before in the past, but I got to be honest with you people, I was still drunk. And so that was my idea, is that I'd be judged right when I walked in. So I went, and as I walked more towards the doorway, I remember, hey, you, hey, come on down here. And I was like, are they talking to me? Because nobody's ever asked me to come down there. And so I went, and then when I went inside, the first person to greet me was actually one of my first sponsors. His name was George. And George said, hey, how are you? What's your name? Welcome to the group. Have a seat. Get some coffee if you want to. And I was like, wow. And then he started introducing me to all the people around. And I still felt out of place, and I still felt, isolated, even amongst the group. And I was very afraid of what was going on. And this would end up like a cult meeting, or, if you ever been to a Catholic church, you got to stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down, and on and on and on and on. So that's what I thought it would be like. To my surprise, it was really and literally a bunch of alcoholics sitting around, shooting the poop, and enjoying the space of each other while sharing their experience, strength, and hope. Now, did they go through some traditional stuff? Yeah. They read the promises, they read the preamble, they read the 12 steps, 12 traditions. And if that's not your thing, there's a normal script that they went through as they opened the meeting. And then when the first person talked, they started talking about how they were on a training exercise, and somehow these flyers are crazy. Somehow they found their way, to their tent by themselves, and they ended up drinking. Then they took a Humvee to where they weren't supposed to. They got in trouble, and it turns out they were a senior leader, and I can't go too much into that for obvious reasons. And then I was like, wow, I can relate to that. I literally can understand how that happened. That's when I knew I was in the right place. My higher power had literally picked me up, took me up some stairs, and put me in this meeting for a reason. And as a matter of fact, that first person to speak, that was all for a purpose, people. And as somebody pointed out yesterday, in the big book, and if you don't read it, I'll just point it out real quick. The big book says, everything does happen for a reason. That's absolutely true in this case. So today's daily reflection, I was defeated, and I was at the point of, this or that, because that's really all that was left. And I went to the group, I went to the meeting, my higher power picked me up and took me and placed me where I needed to be at that time. And now I live by a mantra that, we are exactly where we're supposed to be. And if you are my friend from Reddit, hopefully you went to the place where you're supposed to go, and you got to that meeting, and everything turned out better than you hoped. So, accept it on my first meeting. I will never, ever regret it, and I will never forget it. And I'm grateful for that always. That's food for thought. I'm Wayne. I got to go to work. I will see you in the next one, folks. Have a super day.